United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're ready to go. First thing on the agenda this morning is individuals, groups, of community at large wishing to address the board.
Thank you, Mr. Schiller. We have two registered guests with us that would like to address the board. We would like to ask them to come up when their name is called up to the microphone in front of the board. And speakers, I would remind you that you have 5 minutes per board's policy to speak. During that time, per the policy, the board is not allowed to interact with you. Okay? Board members, do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay. Ms. Mitchell?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Henry. Our first speaker is Miss Sandy Brown.
Good morning, board members, Mr. President, everyone else is here. Late last night, I'm on a Facebook fan. Late last night, I was on Facebook and happened to see a post that really disturbed me. I taught for 30-some years in this county, and we need to support the arts. Not everyone is an athlete, not everyone is cheerleading. Cheerleading is an sport. But the thing is, we have kids that the arts is the only thing that they can excel at. That's where they can meet friends and help to add to their school life. I had no intention of speaking this morning, but it was when I read the post again. And I don't know the whole situation. I don't really know anything except what's posted on Facebook. I have known Jacob Lester since he was about this high. And he loves music. That's where his forte is at. He's very good at it, and I don't know what the situation is, but I do know that he loves those band kids, and he's worked many hours at the school trying to get them ready. And so whatever it is, I sincerely wish, not knowing everything, not knowing much, just post, that he could have his job back, because those kids do need it. Wyoming County needs it, because you know how many people, we are losing people. We're losing people. And here's a person that cares about these kids and the arts. How many pro ball players have we had come from Wyoming County? You know, how many cheerleaders are, you know, for the Dallas Cowboys or whatever. So please consider this, whoever's in charge, board members, Mr. President, anyone else. But look at the whole picture. We were all young ones, we all made mistakes, you know, and guess what? I'm old and I'm still gonna make mistakes. But look at what's best for the children of Wyoming County. Don't want anybody mad or upset, but this young man cares about those kids. And he does an excellent job. Okay, does anyone not, in this room, not made a mistake? Thank you.
Ms. Brown?
Our second speaker is Mr. Stephen Cook.
My name is Steve Cook. First off, I'd like to concur with what the lady said here. The kids work hard, they work very hard to keep this band going. My son Dalton, my daughter Hannah, they were in the band for the last, 4 or 5 years. They had 2 or 3 different band directors. Jacob's been in the band with both my children. He's always had a passion for it. From my understanding, don't know the full 100%, misinterpretation on some text or whatever. If all of us in here, anybody here that hasn't done any misinterpretation of text, stand up, because everybody has. It's just one of those things. In modern times, everybody texting all the time, and some things get misinterpreted. I like to see Jake back in there. My second daughter, third child is in the band now. She loves it. love Jack to death. I'm sure anything that he had done, but knowing him for less, could have been much. And, who's gonna replace him? Who's gonna replace, right now, we don't even have, all certified teachers in the schools. Who's gonna replace him? Our test scores are down in the schools. Westside ranked what, 97 now, 114, something like that, isn't that neighborhood? Give him the chance to get going and get the band established. Like the lady said, everybody makes mistakes. Second thing I want to talk about, my son won the Presidential Scholar Award in 2023. Name one other child in 68 years that has won the Presidential Scholar Award in Wyoming County. You can't, because he's the only one to win the Presidential Scholar Award. Now, some of you may not have heard of it, some of you may have. If it's not a prestigious award, then why was it given out? Why is there only 156 students for the entire nation to get it? One of them only 2, one of them only 3, and the state of West Virginia to get it. I've spoken to the other schools, other board of education, to students that had won their students had won in their counties. They were amazed. I've been trying for months now to get my son's picture put up in Westside High School. Now, the football team wins the state championship, they got trophies and everything. I'm sorry, but first and foremost, school is about education. It's not about football and basketball. I agree. We need football and basketball in school. It's good. But the number one main priority for school is education. Period. Our kids' future. Because name me 5 pro ball players that come from Westside High School. Name me 2, 3. But if you name me, like you can stay here all day and name doctors, lawyers, nurses. They get that from education. Now, being he's the only one in 68 years that they've been doing, why has there not been more precedent put in getting his picture up? And I didn't even know about this until I was told the girl that won the golf championship. And she deserves it. I'm not taking nothing from her. And I brought that up to Miss Stable. And she said she knew what she could do. But yet I make calls. When Deidre was in, I made calls, left messages at high school. No one was going to return my call. When I did hear from Deidre was very rude. Very rude. Period. I hung up on her because she's not going to speak to me that way. I'm an adult. I'm not a child. I would like to know why my son's picture is not put up. And I've heard that they have the picture there, but yet it's not getting put up. I'm a licensed general contractor. If we need something high lift or anything, more than happy to come here and put it up for free. His picture and any other.
Sir, I hate to interrupt you, but your time's up.
No problem.
Thank you.
Mr. Stiltner, that's all the registered guests that we have to speak.
Okay. We'll move on to item number 2. Consent agenda. Mr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. Stiltner. We have items A, B, C, and D on the agenda for you today. If you'll look at your packets, minutes from the August 5th meeting are found on pages 3 through 9. Also, extracurricular, special fundraising, and bus requests, and any professional development requests are pages 10 through 25L. 25A through L being your new pages since the first board packet was put out. But then in addition to that, Ms. Lapardis has left a professional development request that we would like to add to that. And hard copy of that for you in front of you. Payment of invoices run 26 through 53. And then also the P-card statement is there, very light month for the P-card statement, pages 54 through 56. And as you go through, we're more than happy to answer any questions about the consent agenda. But we do recommend I recommend the consent agenda item A through D to you when you're ready.
Mr. Chairman, on page 8, we've got one thing to be there, probably should be boys basketball coach, girls basketball coach at Harmon. Lane's at Griffin. It's got the boys basketball coach twice, or one of them, probably be a girls basketball coach instead of boys.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. Mr. Richard, thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments about the consent agenda?
Also noted, I'm looking for the page number where, Julie Adair was listed both as a coach and a volunteer for Baileysville.
Say that
Well,
page number.
We'll address that I'm sorry, this is coming up.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
My
all right.
apologies.
Okay, for the recommendation by the superintendent, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made, second. Questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All of them. 5-0.
Thank you.
Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Stiltner. Thank you, board members.
Item number 3, consideration of contract agreement for, catering meals with Mountain Mark. There she is right back there.
Thank you, Mr. Stiltner. Have Ms. Rhonda Thomas, our Director of Child Nutrition and Wellness Programs, with us today. And for item number 3, actually, she'll be speaking to you about items 3, 4, 5, and 6. For item number 3, Ms. Thomas will be referencing some papers in your packet from pages 57 through 67.
Good morning. Every year we do the Mountain Heart catered meal contracts. And I give you the handout so that we can kind of understand what happens. Some of the meals that we provide are in-house, and that means the students are actually in the school and they receive the meals at our school. Some of the meals are provided by Mountain Heart, but we are required to put those in our reimbursement program and then give them the money that they spent on their meals. The other option is that we still provide the meals, they come and pick up the meals and take them to their site. So it's a little bit complicated, but this has always been done with our Mountain Heart partners, and we are ready for our new year to begin, so we need to get our meal contracts between them.
Okay. Recommendation, Mr. Henry.
Mr. Stiltner, I recommend to your consideration, the agreement for catered meals with Mountain Heart. That collaboration and work with them has been amazing. We've had such a good working relationship with Mountain Heart. We love being able to reach out and partner with them on a lot of different fronts, but definitely in the realm of child nutrition. Ms. Thomas has done a wonderful job in putting this together and bringing it to us each year, so I recommend that.
I'll make your approval.
Okay, motion's been made, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any comments, questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, Mr. Henry, on number 3.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, item number 4, consideration of adult meal costs.
Board members, I would defer to Ms. Thomas for this information to you as well. She's provided you a one-page summary in your board packet, page 68. Ms. Thomas, I would defer to you on this.
Thank you. I do have an additional handout, that I just actually thought of it yesterday when I was trying to, make it realistic for this increase that I am requesting for our meal costs. If you will look at the top of this handout, you will see that a McChicken and a medium order of fries will cost $5.38 at McDonald's. And then if you will look at all of the pictures below that, those are samples of the meals that we provide our students in our schools. So the request, is due to the fact that we have to, by law, provide, or have our adults only, pay the actual cost of meal production. And these numbers come from our State Department. Mr. Tony Crego is the Office of Child Nutrition. He is our financial coordinator with them. And I have conferred with him twice to make sure that all of the documents in our annual report agree with the $5.50 lunch increase. If we look at this increase, there's not been an increase for 3 years. So that would average out 50 cents a year for the last 3 years. And then our breakfast would only be a 20-cent increase per year for the last 3 years. We have held it at that amount until they have suggested that we make this bump. I do have another activity if someone would be willing to work with me on this activity. Do I have a volunteer?
I'll offer Mr. Pritchard.
What do you need?
I need you to count out some money for me. Alright. So, yeah, well, don't count it just yet. We're gonna take some money away from it, okay? I'm going to.
Ain't real money.
I'm sorry, I should have brought real money, my apologies. I'm going to have you deduct what it costs for us to create the Dorito taco salad, which is very popular with our students. Alright, so our beef costs us 60 cents, so pull 60 cents out of that sack. Our Doritos cost us 76 cents, so pull another 76 cents out of that sack. Our lettuce costs us 35 cents, and this is per child. The salsa costs us 11 cents. Our carrots are 28 cents. The black beans are 33 cents.
33.
33.
Already ran out of quarters.
You're gonna have to nickel and dime it.
We got one. Alright,
Our cherry tomatoes are 37 cents. Red grapes are 61 cents.
how much?
61 cents.
Alright,
And a fresh apple is 37 cents.
alright,
And then our milk is 42.6, so take out 43 cents for 1 milk.
40 points.
43 cents.
Alright,
Alright, so how much money do you have left?
24 cents.
That's exactly right, 24 cents. We are reimbursed this year. Last year it was $4.27. This year we are gonna be reimbursed per child, one meal, $4.45. Now, out of that 24 cents, we are supposed to pay for our salaries for all of our cooks, all of your equipment, and a dishwasher is now, one of the conveyor dishwashers is now $60,000. We are to pay for all of the cleaning supplies, the rags, the plates that the students eat on, the utensils that they use, all of the chemicals out of the kitchen that we have to use to sanitize everything. So as you can see, the reason for the increase is the increase in our prices of our food. So I wanted to demonstrate what we are doing in our kitchens and how we are budgeting. If you have any questions for me, please.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas, very good job. Board members, just a couple notes here. This is for adult meals only, so this would be for our employees that are eating at school. This would be for any visitors that come into the school, and so forth. Our students in Wyoming County they still will receive free lunch and breakfast. That is not changing. That's not what we're voting on today. What we're voting on today and asking for you to vote on is an increase in those adult meals for us to be able to break even for what those meals are costing Ms. Thomas's department. But again, fully noted that this does not impact free or free lunch or breakfast for our students. That's still in existence for us and will continue throughout the school year.
Does that also include snacks for those that stay after school?
That does include our supper program that is free for our students as well. Yes, that continues into the free offering that we have.
Our students can receive a free breakfast, lunch, supper, and snack.
Okay, great.
Board members, when you're ready, Mr. Stiltner, I do recommend the increase in adult meals as presented by Ms. Thomas. Wonderful, a great activity, Ms. Thomas. That really puts it in perspective of what you got there. But as you've been presented on page 68 of your board packet, I do recommend that to the board for approval.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation by the superintendent.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Motion been made. Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Stiltner. Thank you, board members.
Okay. Item number 5, consideration of bid rollovers.
Well, it's that time of year again for us to present this to the board for your approval. And you'll find some information in your board packet from pages 69 to 97. And I'll defer to Ms. Thomas on this one as well. It's a busy day for you today, Ms. Thomas.
It is. Thank you, Mr. Henry. We have received good service from the companies for the past 2 years. This will be the 3rd year that we are requesting, and the final year that we are requesting a rollover for our bids. The companies that have agreed to roll over their agreements are Doherty and the Slush Puppy for our vending. Crew Brothers is our fresh produce, fruits and produce, fruits and vegetables. Southeastern Chemical is the one company that we do have another year after this year left that we can roll them over, and they have been providing excellent service. And United Dairy, this will be their last year. We will be going back to bid probably around March for all of these companies except Southeastern Chemical.
Just for my understanding, Ms. Thomas, when you say this will be their last year, what does that mean for us next year?
It means that in March, I will write a new bid and put that out for companies to apply for that bid. I'm hopeful that we will have more than one bid, but in the past, we have only had one bid due to our ruleness. When I reach out to companies that I have met at conferences, they usually say they just can't negotiate delivering to 13 schools in our rural remote area.
Okay, Mr. Henry, your recommendation?
Board members, when you're ready, I recommend these rollover bids that Ms. Thomas has presented to us and information found in your board packet from pages 69 to 97.
Okay, we have a recommendation by the superintendent, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion been approved, second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, 5-0, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Children. Thank you, board members. Good job, Mrs. Thomas. Those are important aspects of us getting the school year off and running and started.
Okay, item number 6. Annual review of after-school supper. That's not hers either.
I would also defer to Ms. Thomas. Come on down, Ms. Thomas. You're still the next contestant on the Price is Right.
My apologies. Yes, the West Virginia Department of Ed Office of Child Nutrition came in and reviewed our after-school supper program, and we received no findings. So it was a
Ms. Thomas, please repeat that again.
The West Virginia Department of Education reviewed our after-school supper program, and there were none findings for the child nutrition after-school supper program.
Can we give this lady and her team of cooks and secretaries a huge round of applause? That's a big deal, board
Yes,
members.
it
That
is.
is a big deal. Because often when these folks come in, just like an auditor, their job is to find something that is wrong.
Right.
And we always take the mindset in Wyoming County that if we're doing something wrong, we want to know about it. That way we can make it right. But when we get an audit report or we get a review report like this, Ms. Thomas, it is a great testament of your hard work and your dedication. You are rocking what you're doing, and you have us in a great place moving forward with child nutrition. Really good place. I'm proud of the work that she's doing in that role and in that job. She's doing an excellent job. And she has a great team of ladies that she works with every single day, and might not always agree on everything sometimes, and that's part of us being human, but listen, they are rocking it in that department, and that comes from great leadership. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you, sir, but again, you are right. I could not do this without the ladies out there in the schools. They are the ones that are making all of this happen.
Thank you for all this today.
And before you leave from up there, I'm gonna put you on the spot for just a minute, all right? I'm sandbagging her for a minute, I'm sorry. Can you give us an estimate on how many meal boxes we have delivered to students in Wyoming County this summer?
The figures are still out there. I still have one more round that I have to put in on August 20th. The last meal to the children for this summer is August 19th, right before they come back to school. But the numbers are somewhere between 199,000 and change to 201,000 is the last estimate that I got. Now that includes our Energy Express. That's all meals that we have provided to children, both breakfast and lunch, for the summer. Mind you, the first year that I did this, we were at around 3,600 meals. The next year I stepped it up and we had issues. We had volunteers delivering, and we're just so rural and remote. It was a massive job, but we did increase it to over 30,000. And this is the third year that we've done it, so we've gone from 30,000 to somewhere around 200,000.
Is that 10 meals a box?
It is 10 breakfasts and 10 lunches, so actually 20 meals per box.
Has the delivery method worked well this time?
It has worked very well for the number of students. We delivered anywhere from 1,364 boxes to 1,449 boxes each time that we delivered. There has been 7 deliveries for 10-day meal boxes, so that's 70 days of meals for Wyoming County school students. And we have had hiccups. We did not take care of the delivery, that was the company's, since it was coming from them already packaged, they took care of that from their end, but I have liaison between any issues with parents, they contacted me if they didn't receive a box, or if the box was damaged. But the company replaced any box that was damaged immediately. There was insurance on every box that was delivered. I won't be, very honest, there have been some issues, but I have had less than 30 phone calls out of the 200,000 meals that we have delivered.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Excellent.
The very few complaints that did come in, Ms. Thomas was able to address those pretty quickly. Really, the biggest complaint that we got was the number of boxes that were having to be delivered by the delivery company at the time, which, we were paying for every box that was being delivered to the families. And one thing that I'll say about some of our families, things that were left over and extra from some of those, I saw some of our families putting those in the blessing boxes that are outside of the schools. So it was continuing to get it into the hands of people that needed it. We've come a long way from the days of a few guys and gals on the back of a food truck handing out bags of food during the pandemic at the 2 high schools into a delivery model, and we challenged ourselves to come up with a more manageable method than the delivery model, and I think Ms. Thomas has knocked it out of the park and gotten us a good plan to be able to get that many meals out to kids. It's really good stuff, really good stuff. Board members, that's for information only.
Thank you, yes, sir. Okay, item number 7, consideration of memorandum of understanding with hospice of Southern West Virginia. Mr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. Stilton. Board members, pages 99 and 100 is the agreement between us and hospice. This is pertaining to our LPN program. I think the work that the hospice house does is some of the best work that can be provided to a family in need. And for our LPN students to be able to continue to get this experience, I think is huge. A lot of times our students from the LPN program enjoy it so much and the experience that they have there that oftentimes that's one of the areas that our LPN students will go back and be employed. And one thing that I'll say about the hospice house is when you don't see a lot of turnover in staff at the hospice house. Those people that get those jobs stay in those positions, and I think it's for a reason. This is a very valuable experience for those students in the LPN program. And while we're mentioning the LPN program, I want to brag on those LPN students. Yesterday, we had our stuffed bus delivered up to the Career and Technical Center, and those LPN students jumped right in because they're pretty much the only folks on campus right now, and unloaded that bus and helped us get things sorted out and so forth. And they're always a big part of back to school bash. But back to hospice house of Southern West Virginia, that experience for them is very valuable and important. And when you're ready, we would like to recommend that we continue this agreement with hospice house in Raleigh County.
Recommendation made, do I have a motion?
It's pretty much the same agreement as passed, right?
Yes, yep. We have to enter into an agreement with them each year for a couple of different reasons, but one, new students each year, and they put them through training process and so forth, but it's the exact same agreement in past. Yes, sir. Good question.
Move, we approve that motion.
Motion, second.
I'll second.
Motion made, second, have a comment or question? Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? 5-0, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Stiltner. Thank you, board members.
Okay, item number 8, consideration request proposal of coding the curriculum for 6 to 8.
Mr. Stiltner, at this time, I would defer to Ms. Kara Hossie Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell was our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. She has some great information to share with you in hopes of partnership that we want to be able to offer our students this coming school year.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. I am bringing before you this morning, in hopes that we can put out a request for bid for a new coding curriculum that we use in grades 6 through 8. Our current coding program that we have used for the last, I'm going to say 3 years, is no longer available. And it has been a program that we have very much enjoyed and utilized in our middle grades 6 through 8. Coding and computer science is kind of the way of the future, and we all know how important those computer skills are in our day-to-day lives, and oftentimes their jobs rely on those types of skills. But like I said, unfortunately, the program that we have been using is actually no longer available in the United States, unfortunately. Our students responded so well to this, and so did our teachers. We spent a lot of time and work trying to implement that program. So I'm saddened that that's no longer available to us. However, I do know that there are a lot of different opportunities that exist for this type of curriculum to be brought to our schools. It is a requirement, like I said, in 2510 to offer computer science type opportunities for our students. So as you see on page 100, that 101, I apologize, in your board packet, and the meat and potatoes of the notice of bid is here. We're looking for the comprehensive coding curriculum for students in grades 6 through 8, so that we can continue to equip our students with the coding skills and knowledge, fostering their ability to thrive in a very technologically driven world. We're looking for 4 criteria. Curriculum development. You can see here the selected vendor will be responsible for the curriculum development, create a coding curriculum for grades 6 through 8, including lesson plans, instructional materials, and assessments. Teacher training. We need that successful company to provide the professional development so that teachers feel comfortable and equipped with implementing this within their schools. Implementation support, assist with the rollout and making sure that we as a central office curriculum team have the tools necessary to support our teachers and administrators as they support our students. And then additionally, evaluation and feedback, a way that we can continue to assess and improve that curriculum as we move forward. I have shared with administrators that until we get this in place, pending your approval and allowance to move forward after today's meeting, there are, of course, content standards that teachers can utilize prior to this implementation going into effect. So students will not be behind in any way. There is ample resources for them to focus on basic computer skills such as foundations of typing, which you can never underestimate the value of being a fluent typer. The ability to construct a Word document correctly, the foundations of Excel, developing a PowerPoint, Canva, those types of digital presentations. So this also enhances their knowledge of computer science. So I am hopeful that you all will give us your approval today so that we can put this out for bid and start receiving bids from companies that can support us in this venue.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Coding is such an important piece of making sure that our kids have exposure and a well-rounded education when they leave Wyoming County schools. I read something a little while back that said we are preparing kids and educating kids now for jobs that don't even exist at this moment. And that's a big deal. If you look back, I'm just gonna venture back in my day, 24 years ago, graduated from high school. I remember in middle school, my exposure to coding at that time was a Macintosh computer that was probably as large as my desk. I don't know that it could have actually fit on that desk. And coding at that time was entering plots in an MS-DOS program. And I remember Miss Peggy Baldwin had us doing it. And if you put one plot in the wrong space, instead of your man waving up here, he would be waving down here. We've come a long way since with technology since then, but our students, this is an essential piece, and our students leaving Wyoming County schools exposed to as much as they possibly can before they go off into their next endeavors in life. So we have no hesitation. I have no hesitation in recommending this bid proposal for coding.
You have any idea the cost of this program?
Thank you. I do have funds, allocated in Title IV, I believe. They vary. Our previous, implementation was in the 20s. I can see it going anywhere upwards of that. A lot of it's going to depend upon the number of student licenses, because it is all digital. But it would be using federal funds. It would not be affecting the county general fund in any way.
So for $20,000?
I would say upward, yeah, in that realm. Yeah.
This class, we encourage our principals to place this class in a rotation schedule for our middle school students. So at some point throughout the year, just like they're exposed to a PE class, music class, this would be ideally a part of that and incorporated into some of that.
So every kid 6 to 8 will be exposed to,
Yes.
that's great,
Yes.
that's great.
Mr. Stilber, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this. It's so important for our kids.
Yes, it is.
And I'll say,
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion been made and second. Any comment or question? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
And Mr. Henry, I would probably have taught you. I taught that class.
Did you teach that class, Ms. Hall?
Hello, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Children. Thank you, board members. I remember that because that's the first time I'd had any exposure to a Mac computer. And then I went off to WVU, and my math lab was all on Mac. And it was a fancy green, about the color of Miss Hall's shirt, the computer at that time. And yeah, it was rather interesting. Yeah, rather interesting. Now this coding stuff can be done from their iPads, and it will link directly toward robots, and kids can build robots. There's Lego robots. There's different brands of robots they can program to do different things. I've seen students be able to use these things called Ozzo balls, and you can set the Ozzo ball down and program it to go 1 foot up forward, 1 foot to the left, in all different directions, and not limited to that, but it's pretty amazing what our
Our
kids
schools
do.
do have access to those types of materials. A few years ago, we purchased the obstacle courses where they can practice their coding and then put their little robots, for lack of better words, on those obstacle courses and see that in action. So it really helps to give the students that hands-on experience that so often our kids need, so they can see what is happening on their device, but then translate it to something that is actually moving and in front of them. So it offers a lot of really good learning experiences. And I also consider it to be a way to help students, because it's not gonna be a perfect fit for every student, but you might start developing young learners who then can make that connection to a program at the Career and Technical Center. So this is a pathway that they can pursue, and we can afford them that opportunity in the CTC as well.
I saw it demonstrated at Huff.
Yes.
On a school
Yes,
visit.
yes.
And the kids seemed to thoroughly enjoy it.
They do, and some of our most successful, like, after-school enrichment programs have been focused on robotics and coding. So it's definitely something that our kids are interested in.
That ties sort of in with the STEM program too.
Absolutely,
yeah.
yes,
Absolutely.
falls right in.
And as Ms. Mitchell said, that is a good segue into the Career and Technical Center and the Project Lead the Way. You've seen Mr. Fortner's classroom, any at all, or if you've seen him at some of those career fairs, it's pretty fascinating with at what we can expose them to at the middle school level and then build upon that at the Career and Technical Center at that level. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Okay, and item number 9, review of Wyoming County Board of Education self-appraisal.
Mr. Stiltner, information from pages 103 to 108 has been provided for you. This is a summary, and I want to thank Ms. Lane and Ms. Lapardis for putting this together for us. This is the annual self-appraisal that is required in law for us to be able to submit to the State Department that this has been completed. But also, as we compile that information, it's important for us to provide that back to you for your review and for you to be able to look at. That information has to be submitted to Mr. Brown and the School Board Association and to the State Department by August 15th. We've completed that for you. You may have received an email a week or so ago that we had not submitted at that time, which was not a panic moment. That's kind of normal, but I appreciate Mr. Brown's diligence on making sure that the counties are there. But once we've compiled that information, we have submitted that for you. But pages 103 through 108.
You saying it has been submitted?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, we have been submitted, and also received confirmation back as far as having that's been submitted for us. But we want to provide you a summary of that information for your review. And Ms. Hall, you were lucky you did not have to participate in that this year, but come next year you will. Mr. Stiltner, that's for information only.
Okay, item number 10, consideration of clinical experience agreement, Western Governor University.
Before I start on that, Mr. Stiltner, I'll back up to 103 through 108. One thing further that I wanted to say to you, in the President's Training retreat that we attended at Glade Springs, they mentioned there that the State Department, when if they're looking at something as part of a review, one of the first things that they look at is how the Board of Education self-appraises. And that data is helpful for them in gaining some insight. So I know this appraisal report is looked at by the State Department, and I know Mr. Brown takes those things very seriously as well. So I meant to say that, but I forgot. I apologize.
No problem.
Back to item number 10 on our agenda. In front of you from pages 109 to 114. This is a clinical experience agreement with Western Governors. As Ms. Lane has presented to us in previous last board meeting, she works with many education agencies to be able to find ways for us to be able to help our teachers get certified and stay certified. Western Governors has been a very popular program that our folks in Wyoming County have used. Not just in Wyoming County, but as I'm talking with other superintendent friends, it's pretty widely popular as well with other counties. It's convenient. I've said this to you before, but the days of having to leave your home and drive to Charleston or drive to Huntington or drive to Beckley, the old Beckley College, Morris Harvey, right? Those days of that are behind us, and the convenience that some of these places provide is wonderful for our folks. As you know, we get a lot of non-traditional educators in our system. So as many agencies as we or educational groups that we can partner with and continue to partner with, we need to do so. This is a typical agreement that we have moved in favor of with Western Governors before, but it's that time of year again for us to be able to bring that to you for your approval. It gives us some information there of what we're to provide, and a skinny of that is we're to try to provide as positive of a learning experience as we possibly can for those students. Before Western Governors, we used just kind of in the teaching realm, but I've seen here recently a lot of counselors that go through that program as well, and it's been very beneficial for our folks and convenient. So upon your review of pages 109 through 114, I would recommend this clinical experience agreement with Western Governors.
Does the State Board of Education approve stuff like this also?
They do, yes. And actually, that's who Angel works through. Miss Lane will work through the State Department, and they have to sign. The college has to sign off on the agreement, and then the State Department has to sign off on the agreement as well. And Western Governors is one of those widely used from the State Department level also.
So I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. 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 All those opposed? 5-0. Mr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. Stilton. Appreciate it. Thank you, board members. That's helpful for our folks in this county that are working toward certification. So it's good stuff.
Mr. President, I'm gonna step out for a second. Let's do it.
About a 5-minute break then.
Let's do it.
Mr. Chairman, we'll take the break or I drove down St. Paul Road at the career tech center. We had hot house thrown in the building, taking it down. What happened there?
It's going to be moved to another school that's going to utilize it. Had Miss Runyon working with Luke Stevens and Stacy, but they were not using it there. And another school expressed some interest in using actually Huff Consolidated. Yeah. So they're going to put it up there and utilize that greenhouse up there.
Just wondering about it. I'm gonna notice that's what was happening here. I know, I haven't been, I didn't think somebody was stuck it up and working.
Yeah.
Been a good
That sure
We
would.
had a lot of them tables in there also, with raised tables, beds, garden beds.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for kids to be able to learn some good skills.
Going on, is there everything?
And we move on.
Just won a championship, man.
Lots of changes there.
One of our two schools, are they now considered triple A or double A?
Double A,
Double A, both, double A.
I believe, yeah.
Both schools.
I saw one of the Virginia schools had a kid die. Oh, really?
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been
16-year-old
hot.
16-year-old sophomore.
That's been my, topic of conversation with both coaches up to this point. It's just the heat on the field. You know, that's a and then making sure that we have our trainer there
Oh, yeah.
as well is, well, it's law. I mean, it's not an option. It's, you know, unacceptable not to have that there.
Now, do both schools have certified trainers, or are we?
No. Yes.
That's perfectly legitimate, perfectly all
It
right.
is, and we're unfortunately, same as many other counties in the area of not having certified trainers. So some counties will even partner with local doctor's offices and so forth and things like that. We met with STAT and EMS, and the agreement was that they do their best to commit to us that they can provide the same person every day. You get to know the players, you get to know the injuries and so forth, and that consistency is important.
Should the coaches be trained and all that stuff?
They're not though. They're CPR certified and so forth, but they're not certified athletic trainers.
That's quite a bit involved with becoming.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
all
whole lot.
great.
And you're taking, I'll be honest, most people that have done it in the past, it's a lot of responsibility and liability on someone for next to nothing.
Also, too, we have defibrillators on both fields.
We do,
Correct.
yes, correct.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm sure
Mobile,
most coaches are
mobile.
not certified.
mobile defibrillator, AED.
Yeah.
We worked hard to purchase, not only for the schools, you know, we started just putting those in the schools, but then we started purchasing, you probably remember that.
Field house.
Started purchasing those mobile units to be able to take, with them when they go. Those are important.
Great. Okay. We are on, item number 11, superintendent's update.
Thank you, Mr. Stiltner. I don't have a whole lot to update you on this morning, but I do want to let you know that there was a gas leak at the Career and Technical Center that we discovered, and we've been working with the gas company. If you drive by there on the back parking lot, you'll see some deconstruction going on. We've dug up the line, and we have the gas cut off to Building A right now. What that's impacting at the moment is hot water in Building A, and then also the ability to be able to do any type of cooking in that building. Talked to Dr. Lyons this morning and got an update that we plan to have that fixed before school starts.
Was the leak inside the building or on the outside?
It was on the outside. Yeah, it was on the outside, but it was picked up by the gas company, and they notified Dr. Lyons, and then we were able to identify where the leak was at. Instead of tracking that one leak, usually when you track a leak like that there could be a leak in several other places. So what we elected to do was just to replace the whole entire line. You have a little bit more control over that when you replace the whole entire line. There's only one place through the parking lot right there that we had to dig up. The rest of it we'll be able to run without any cutting up pavement and so forth. So we hope to have that fixed before school begins. Our opening day will be at Wyoming East. We'll begin at 8:30. Doors will open at 7:30. We have an amazing speaker coming in that I'm really, really excited about.
It better be amazing, $22,000.
He's really good.
What date is that?
Really good. The 19th, Monday. Also, you may see integrated resources out and about. I didn't know that they work with stripping and waxing floors. We kind of got in a tight spot where we were afraid that we were not going to be able to get schools open to my liking. I love a shiny floor. I want our kids, when they walk in that first day, to be able to see their reflection in that floor when they walk in that hallway. And Ms. Lane has worked with our principals, and we've had custodians do some extra work outside of their school, and time at the end, and people that wanted to do those stripping and waxing has caught up on us. So we're partnering with Integrated Resources for 2 schools. You may see them in the next couple of days at Westside doing the main hallways there, and then at Baileysville, the main entrance and the hallway down to 3rd through 5th grade wing as well. So if you see Integrated Resources outside of the buildings, that's where they're at. So that's all I have for an update right now.
Did Dr. Lyons address the ladies' bathroom at Wyoming East?
Yes, to my knowledge, yes, we have. There was some ceiling tile that needed replaced, and they've had the lift in there fixing some of that. Those custodians have been in stripping and waxing. From my understanding, what was the issue, and eventually we'll have to address overall, is probably replacing that tile in that bathroom. And in my opinion, once we get to that point, I think we move away from some of this tile. That way you're not spending time and energy and money on stripping and waxing if we can utilize another material. So when it gets to that time we will.
There was a commode in there that wasn't working also, and that floor tile.
Yeah. To my understanding, Mr. Pritchard, yes, that's been addressed. You may have seen some pictures on Facebook of some of our custodians and some of the work that they're doing. Stripping and waxing is an extremely hard and difficult job. Talk about laborsome. I mean, it is, you're lugging that furniture around. And that's not even the hardest part of it, but if you're lugging that furniture, those desks can be quite heavy at times. And then you get into the stripping and waxing of those floors. I'm very grateful for I'm very, very grateful for our custodians and the work they do in that. They do a great job.
Mr. Henry, I was wondering if it'd be possible, like, the schools have events that the public are welcome to attend during the course of the year. And I'm trying to figure out a way to keep up with that. There may be some that I would like to go to, or these gentlemen would like to go to. Is there a way that, like on a monthly basis, provide a list of what those functions are?
Absolutely, Ms. Hall. I think that's a great idea. Mitchell, when we talk to our principals about that and see if we can't get a calendar of those events. And I'll say this to you, they enjoy seeing you at those events. Not only the school people, but the kids do too. You know, they enjoy. I love going to those. I always love going to those events as a principal. And you can always see the kid, and I always think about the little tinies sitting in the crowd, scanning the crowd for who they know and who is there to see that's a big deal. And of course, we'll always keep you updated on any type of county fairs that we're doing as well. We love having you there, also taking pictures with our award winners, because there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. And school is up on us, so those events start picking up very, very, very quickly, very quickly. But we can definitely reach out to our principals and get that information. It's a good idea.
Used to do that on the secondary level.
Yeah. It's fun to go to those things. I enjoy it. Ms. Mitchell, Mr. Stewart, anything that you all have this time for superintendent's update?
I'd just like to again thank the LPN class for their help with sorting out the bus and figuring out, I think, help facilitate that beginning of that. I had planned on getting that all going, and then COVID set me down early in the week, so I appreciate their help. And I saw pictures yesterday of them, and I was so excited that they took time out of their day to go do that in the hot sun, and looked like they had a good time, and I sure appreciate that. Helped me personally too, because that's all my thing was this evening, was to do it, and I thought of that, so I thank them for that. Also want to brag on our group of painters that worked this summer. We had a really good group of painters that went out and did some work at the schools that the principals prioritized some of their needs at their schools. And we had a group of painters that went out and took care of that. You go in and look from start to finish, and it's like the school becomes new again. And it's so pretty how they do that. It gives it a bright, fresh face for the kids when they come back, and it looks clean. And I'm really appreciative of the hard work they did. Some of them had to deal with epoxy in the kitchen floor down the top, and I was just amazed at how beautiful that looks after it's done. So I want to express my appreciation for that. And the school counselors are back, and they're in full swing this week. There's a lot of chatter, a lot of business going on there, getting things taken care of at their schools. So just a busy week, and we're excited about next week. Every day is going to be great, and we're just ready to go.
I want to publicly thank our, and we don't, being live streamed, we get to do that if there's anybody watching and things like that. But I want to publicly thank our churches, our businesses, our organizations, our individuals that really came together and rocked the Stuff the Bus event. I mean, Mr. Stewart, that was excellent. I mean, the amount of stuff that came in to take care of our children in Wyoming County. And sometimes we don't get an opportunity to thank those people, so I really want to thank those churches, businesses, individuals, and some of our citizens that just, I mean, people were unloading boxes of notebooks by the truckload. There should be no reason that any student in Wyoming County doesn't have paper and pencils. I saw so many boxes of notebooks and loose leaf paper and pencils unloaded yesterday. It just filled my heart.
It was great. Yeah, we took it on the road on Monday. It was at the OC of Dollar General, and for about it's for all day that day. And then Tuesday we went to the Pineville Dollar General, and just a lot of people brought even more stuff, and we do. It was really nice seeing the community pull together and donate to support our kids.
Ms. Mitchell, anything from you and your department this
Yes,
time?
sir. Yes.
We
We
had a
have,
few more boxes out there.
Yeah, I'll grab those before you leave. We'll get those on the bus. Or we'll get them in the room. Off the bus now, we'll get them in the room.
very good, very good. We did conclude our summer PD. We had a successful summer of professional development going. We had 2 wonderful standards-based trainings for ELA and math teachers last week. Phenomenal collaboration. I think a lot of aha moments as they dug into their standards and had very direct conversation with their school teams about their levels of questioning and how they can be intentional with their questioning of the students. So I was really pleased with that. Had another training just yesterday with their principals, and again, I texted Mr. Henry halfway through the day, and I said, our principals are working so well as a team. They ask great questions. they are curious learners themselves, and they hold each other accountable in the best way, but they also are great supporters of one another. And so I'm really excited to continue working with them throughout this school year. I think we have a very dynamic group of leaders that we're going to be working with, and it's just been a really successful summer in terms of professional development. Curriculum resources are starting to come in. We're getting truckloads of resources, and we are disseminating, separating, stamping. It's such a big undertaking, and we're trying to get everything out as quickly as possible. You know, sometimes when you have a new adoption, things are a little bit slower to trickle in from companies, but they're starting to come in, and we're going to be in really good shape to start the school year.
I was really pleased as Ms. Mitchell and I were talking. We were so pleased with the participation that we had from our teachers and principals this year in summer PD. At times, and summer is a time that you need to disconnect and relax when you can. And we've had some years where participation for summer PD has been down, but each training session that we had this summer, I think was well attended, and folks that were there were hungry and ready to learn. They were there with a purpose, and they knew their why, and they were taking in some good information from our principals to our teachers that have been participating in that as well. So I'm proud of the work that they have done. Ms. Mitchell, your department that you put in planning some of those trainings, but I'm really proud of those principals and teachers that were willing to give up their time this summer to hone their craft and get better. You know, not to use a sports analogy, but you don't get better in the season. You get better and you grow in the off season. And education is no different. You know, during the school year, you can get a little bit better, but when you're, you know, what you're putting in afterwards is important. That's for information only at this time, Mr. Stewart.
All right. Item number 12, consideration of personnel list.
Miss Lane couldn't be with us today. She had an important appointment that we've been on to her about teaching. She emailed you a personnel list, a finalized personnel list, and then she's given us a hard copy today. And we do have one change that I want to bring to your attention. If you will turn to page 2 of this hard copy, the very first name at the top of the list. This would have been the recommendation of Wyoming East and their faculty senate, but as we dug further, the employee was under contract in McDowell County, and they are in a situation where they are not willing to release her from her contract, which is legal. That, you know, after August 1, you have that ability to do so. Typically in Wyoming County, we have granted those wishes of folks because you want people happy. You know, you want people that are where they want to be are happy, and if they're happy, guess what? Students are going to be happy. So that top person there under recommended for appointment, we will need to remove that from the personnel list. Once Ms. Lane gets back, then we'll kind of see what our plan of action moving forward will be in bringing you a recommendation for that position.
Y'all see that Molly Coney resigned, she got a job in Raleigh County. Of course, she lives over Route 1 down next to Clear Creek. She got a job over between Marsh Fork and Clear Creek Elementary School, Wisconsin. I told her, I can't hold her again, but she's having to buy about an hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
She said if something come up that was to her liking, she would be more than willing to be back to Wyoming County. Wyoming County's her own.
Molly is a special soul. She is an incredible individual, and boy, she started with us as a long-term substitute and filled a lot of roles at a couple different schools, but she was an excellent teacher. Then she became a communities and schools a facilitator for us. And then as she finished up her counseling degree, she became school counselor for us. Anything Molly does, she does really well. So they have definitely gotten a great person. Board members, as you move through the personnel list, I recommend the personnel list to you as presented, with the exception of the removal of the top name on the personnel list on page 2, and only because that employee could not be moved from her county and released from her contract.
Okay, and I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
I'll second.
Well, first of all, you need to be a little bit more specific about why you're going in, okay?
It's concerning, an employee of West Side. Do I need to be more specific?
Yes.
Yes.
It's regarding Jacob Lester's removal.
Okay.
Board members, as your superintendent, it's my duty to guide you in the best way that I possibly can. But I don't think that's an appropriate reason to go into executive session. That is up to you at the end of the day.
We can discuss it openly.
Yeah, that is up to you at the end of the day. That's what you do, but I feel that I have to tell you at this moment right now that my guidance would be different on going into executive session for that reason.
That's fine, I just thought that there were things that needed to be said that I didn't want to broadcast everywhere.
We have gone into executive session.
For less
personnel discussion.
Okay, recommendation been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, what recommendation are we voting on now?
On
Opposed. You had already made the second.
Yeah, or are we voting on that, or are we voting on what Mr. Henry said?
To go into executive session, I
Go
would
into
say.
executive session.
I think it, I'm like Doug, I'm thinking, you know, something might be said, you don't need to go out to everybody. Respect your guidance right there, but
Yeah, so,
sometimes just everybody gets hold of it. You don't know what's going to end up out in the world.
Okay, motion been made. Do we have a second?
He's had two of them.
Second, okay. Want to be sure, Okay, motion been made, second, those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. 5-0.
Ms. LaParge,